Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Politically Incorrect Knitters. I'm Deplorable Knitter, and I am joined, as always, by the lovely and talented Pinkava.
Hello.
And this week, we have some knitting and not so much politics, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the knitting community. So we felt like we had to kind of address that this week.
Mm-hmm. Lots of things to address.
Yeah, unfortunately, they've lost their minds again. So we're here to let you know what happened.
Yeah. Lost the plot, as some would say.
So, Anne, I know that you've actually knit something. So want to talk about that first?
I have. It's been one of those. So I have probably noticed that I've had kind of knitting malaise. Like I finished a couple of things, but not much. But this week has been kind of kick my butt. Hey, I am a product knitter. I'm not just here to have fun and have a good time. I need to make stuff and sell it. So this past week, my Etsy store, which a lot of it, I mean, that you have the patterns, you know, the Betsy Ross and the Union Jack and the Israeli beanie, you know, that I have patterns out there. But what I used to do, and I guess still do, it's on the needles, is a lot of like kind of pop culture inspired stuff. So and a lot of my most popular sellers on the store have, you know, sort of lapsed. I've sold out and not redid them. So like this past week, I have a Loki inspired beanie and I sold one, and then I made the mistake of saying that I sold one, so I sold the other two immediately. I'm like, oh no, I have to make these again. So it's like, love the sales, but now I'm knitting. So yeah, that's why that's this. It's a Loki inspired gray from color wise from the sort of Ragnarok outfit, if you know, if you care to know.
That means nothing to me.
You're like, no, it means nothing at all, but it's there. Yeah,
I don't even know who Loki is. I don't even know who Loki is, honestly.
There you go. Well, I mean, and then they just put out a new TV show with him on Dub Plus. So, I mean, of course, I would make it more popular. And yeah, I haven't actually seen this show yet. Like some people say it's okay. Some people say they don't really like it. Some people say it's Tom Hiddleston. I don't care. You know, anything he does is good. So mixed opinions, but knitting hats is knitting hats. And then I also did a Phoenix Wright hat, which I knit up. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this out here. And that's based on the lawyer video game Ace Attorney, which is surprisingly popular. And I know, I love this video game. It's hilarious. But yeah, I knit it and I put it out there and I, you know, barely got it wet and laid it out to dry to kind of block it a little bit. And the next day it sold. I'm like, oh, now I have to make another one. Like, no. And yeah, so I have, you know, this one to put out. You just make another one of those. I have another custom order that somebody asked for. So it's like, oh yes, none of these happy summer fun times. It's like, no, and I have to dig out. Yeah, I have to dig out my old patterns that I haven't done for a while. Like for this hat, there's already a slight mistake in how it's done. It doesn't. It's my own hat pattern. No one else knows what it is. It's like if the ribbing is slightly different, who cares? Nobody knows. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, if I had gone over my notes a little more closely, I would have realized that this is the difference.
Oh, it doesn't matter. When we made all of those hats in December, not all of them had the same ribbing. So if people, because my mom was doing some and I was doing some, and there was a miscommunication, or maybe not so much a miscommunication as I had kind of just written that pattern up real quickly and then it got real big and I didn't really know what the heck I was talking about. So we just like, oh, these people ordered 2 or 3 hats. Let's make sure all their ribbings are the same and all their letters are the same. So
well, I've done that too as well. Like, okay, So my problem with patterns and things is like, tell me to knit something. I will knit it or I will figure it out, and it will probably change from what I first think it's going to be to what it is in the end, and that's fine. But physically making the product is not a quarter as difficult for me than doing a listing or doing a pattern. Sitting down and writing it out and getting pictures and doing the rest of it is just like, I don't know what the, yeah.
I've been talking about putting out crochet patterns for 2 months now. Have I done it? Have I even written them up? Nope, I sure haven't.
Right.
I don't know why.
I don't know. I don't know what the mental stop is, but it's like, this is incredibly difficult for me to sit down and do and figure out and just get it done.
It's awful.
But yeah, it's the, and often, so the patterns, or I guess not the patterns. So I'll take pictures of a product and I'll have it out there. But sometimes it'll be that the pictures that I put out is, while the pictures look good and I think it's a good representation of what you'll get, that pattern is, a much earlier draft of what I'm eventually putting out. So I've made like slight improvements to the pattern since then, but I'm just like, do I want to do no pictures? No. You know how hard it was for me to figure out a good picture to begin with? I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to stand there and try to take a mood selfie. I hate that. So
yeah, but I think as long as it's pretty close, I mean, people are getting handmade items, so it's not like I think, I'm not sure if I have it in my listing, but I should totally put it in that, it's just a representation. Like, I had to put on my Stop the Steal hats. I could not get the same pom-poms that were in the picture that everybody saw. So I had to put on it, like, pom-poms will differ, because I was in a rush. And actually, for my pom-poms, I probably mentioned it at the time, but Sweet Mountain Crafts came through for me. I was like frantically sending her messages on Instagram. I'm like, I need 20 pom-poms. How fast can you get them to me? And she'd be like, do you care what they look like? I'm like, no, as long as you send me some, I don't care.
Right.
And no, she came through for me twice because I ordered. And then like a couple days later, we had so many more orders. I had to be like, hey, it's me again.
Right.
Whatever you want to send me, I'm here. I need more.
Right. Please tell me you have more.
Please make as many pom-poms as you can and mail them to me. Oh, please.
Please. Thank you.
And after that, I meant to get more from her. I just haven't, because I have not really knit that much since Trump has left office. I mean, like, I've knit, but it's not the same. My designing has not been the same since he left office. I need to find my voice again, I think. I'm a little lost and wandering. So,
like I said, I've been feeling that way too, but I mean, like, this is good. This is get back to basics for me. Sit there, make the old patterns, keep going. And like I said, with the new custom order, it's like, okay, so figure out a new pattern, figure out the, and again, so much easier when it's just someone who, wants a thing instead of someone who wants me to produce a pattern. Oh, good.
Cool. So you're working on a Loki hat.
I should mention, and I didn't mention this last week, but I should, that, I actually met up with some people who watch our podcast. Woohoo. With Lori and Norm. Hello. I know they both commented, so I should say. And she made me this lovely little dishcloth thingy.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah. And some, she also brought me some truffles, which I've mostly eaten. So you know what truffles look like. Anyways, it was incredibly kind of them.
Yes, that sounds fun. So as for me, I mentioned a couple weeks ago that the husband got the little poke jab thing and he was sick. Guess what? He's sick again.
Oh.
So he has a full-time job, but then he actually helps the guy that built our house when he needs not that he's not skilled, but when he needs help doing tasks that he doesn't necessarily want to pay his main construction crew for, my husband goes and works for him. Right. So but the whole construction crew got sick last week and my husband was there and now he's sick, but he is like so much sicker than they were. like they all had head colds and stuff. He's running a huge fever again and stuff. So because of that, I have not knit anything because I love my husband, but he is not a good sick person. He is one of those guys where you just really, I really hope he's better soon for all our sakes. But yeah, no, he's still not doing well. And it's really like, I hope this passes because he never gets sick. The kids and I are always like, when they were in school and stuff, we were always the ones that had the colds and the snots and he was like, what is wrong with you people? You're always sick. And he's been sick twice in like 3 weeks. It's just not normal at all. It's really weird. But so because of that, I haven't been knitting, and my cleaning jobs get busier in the summer. I know a lot of people like summer slows down for them, but I clean rental houses, and so this is our season. So I've been working more, and we're finishing up school with the kids. So just not a lot of time for other stuff, unfortunately. And I wanted to tell you guys about this because you guys are all crafty and helpful, and a lot of you have homeschooled. So for co-op this coming year, I'm teaching 2 classes. Well, if people sign up for my classes, I will be teaching 2 classes. One is going to be like a knit and crochet circle, which I'm not really that worried about. I'm going to help the kids learn how to do stuff. I've done it before. But the other class I'm going to be doing is from sheep to yarn. We have a friend that has sheep, and they get them sheared, and then they give us the wool. And so I have garbage bags full of wool, and I'm like, well, hell, I can teach a whole bunch of kids how to do this. Like, oh, look, the first week we're going to pick sticks out of it and wash it with dish soap. Okay, next week we're going to card it. We're going to, but I've never done anything like this before. Teaching in a co-op, kind of a classroom setting, like everything I've done has been very informal. So if anybody out there has like, advice, whatever, I'd be interested to hear it because I get a lot of cool homeschool advice from you guys. So, hit me up. But I'm excited about the sheep to wool one. We're going to build our own drop spindles. So, that's the other thing. This summer, I have to learn how to build a drop spindle and spin yarn, which I've never done. So
it's like, whoa, before we start this class, I better.
Yeah. And that's going to be later in the class. So, like, it's a 10-week class. So I'll have, I don't know, this summer plus an extra 5 weeks probably before I really need to know how to spin, but I've got to get on that. I should break it down.
Yeah, resources for learning to spin also appreciated.
Yeah, well, I know you, my good friend Anne, knows how to use a drop spindle.
I do prefer the wheel though, but drop spindle is the best place to start. So.
Well, and if I have no idea how many students there's going to be. I have no idea what the age range is going to be.
Right.
We limited it to like upper elementary, middle school. I made it open to high schoolers and stuff, but odds are that they have to like take chemistry and, real classes, not my spinning class, but whatever.
But they might be interested, so why not? Right.
But if it just depends on if they have room in their schedule, or if they have to take their core classes.
Right. It's like, otherwise get the wool in the people's hands.
Yeah, but because our friends, seriously, before they started giving us the yarn, they used to just throw it in the woods.
Wow.
Because they didn't know what to do with it. And the guy who sheared the sheep said it's not worth it to him to sell it because by the time he takes it and spends money on gas and stuff, he doesn't really make anything. So it's, so they were always like, whatever. So then they were like, hey, you guys want it? Sure, we'll take it. So now we've got like 4 bags of wool. I've got to do something with it.
Right.
And it's raw. It's right off the animals. It hasn't had anything done to it.
Right.
She tries to wash them, but this year the shearer came kind of unexpectedly. So they were however sheep are usually. Usually she washes them with dish soap so that they're not nasty, which is nice, but what you can do. So for the homeschool class, I'm going to be teaching, like, we're going to talk about why you shear sheep. We're going to pick it. We're going to go all the way through. We're going to dye it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Are you going to dye before you spin it or after you spin it?
before I spin.
I think that's.
I just think that that'll make it more fun because
yeah, if you're
spinning
spinning
plain
white
wool is
wool,
blah.
yeah, you could, but it's more fun if you have like different color bits, and then you can see how they apply together, and that's nice.
Yeah. And so the coordinator was like, well, what if you run out of stuff to talk about? And I'm like, well, we'll be spinning because we're not going to, the first week, we're not going to spin enough wool to do anything with.
Yeah.
So, and it ties into my knitting class.
Right.
So we're going to make a whole new generation of hand weaver, hand spinner, knitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what my week. So that's all I had this week. I mean, it's just been busy family life stuff happening here. So before we go into like the nonsense that's been happening, I have a little list here, and I just wanted to announce our winners for the comments giveaway from our anniversary special, because we didn't do it last week because I was a little bit remiss in getting the episodes up in a timely fashion. So we gave you a little bit more time to comment.
Exactly. Exactly. More time to win.
Yes. And everybody who is on the list, I've already contacted. So if you've seen like something saying, hey, Deplorable Knitter, email Deplorable Knitter, that was really me, and you can do it. It's fine. It's not any scammy thing. So Elizabeth Clothier won the Chicken Lady Fiber Arts gift certificate on Instagram. So congratulations.
Yay.
And I've already hooked you up with Chicken Lady. Oh, and you've already responded, so we're good to go. We're all set. And then
you already know this. Okay.
Never mind.
Just so everyone knows, she's the winner.
Yes, exactly.
Liz, winner. Everyone knows. Best winner. Sorry.
And for the Maker 37 bag, the big bag with the octopus on it, it's red, white, and blue. That was VSK on Rumble, and I did contact you. So if you didn't see it, email me, deplorableknitter@yahoo.com. And then the yarn that I dyed, the purple yarn, I'm sitting here thinking, man, I should have brought these gifts over so that I could remind everybody. Right. Sorry, I didn't. But Kathleen Gerwin won that, and I commented on your YouTube post. So make sure you get in touch with me. So guys, thanks for everything. And it was really nice having the comments, and because Anne and I enjoy doing this, and it's a lot of fun. But it's also kind of nice to hear like what you like hearing us talk about and things, because sometimes we get a little off topic or something and we're like, I don't know if this is really where we want to be. And so hearing it from you guys helps.
Right. Well, like, last week I thought it was funny that I'm sitting there talking with you and I made the Yul Brynner joke, and I'm just like, after I said it mentally, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if that joke's gonna land. And then a couple people commented that they thought it was funny. I'm like, oh good. Like, when you say something and you're like, is this actually like it's okay. So
yep, exactly.
So affirmation.
Yeah. But it's just nice to know that you guys are like, sometimes we don't know if we should delve deeper into a subject, or if you kind of like the bullet point rapid fire, and it seems like it doesn't really matter which way we do it. Everybody seems to get something out of it. So, but if there's a preference, always let us know. We're happy to work with you. So the knitting community. Where do we want to start, Anne?
Good golly, Miss Molly. The nonsense that's been happening.
Should we start with Tana's thing and move from there, since it's the least insane? Sure. I mean, it's not the least insane, but it's weird. It's not as weird as some of the other stuff going on, I guess. Right. I don't know.
Well, it's insane in its own right. Because, sorry, I don't know what her first name. The Instagram handle is Tanis Knits.
Her name is Tanis Gray.
Oh, her first name is Tanis.
Mm-hmm. So
I know people whose last name is Tanis, so I'm like,
yeah. But if you guys haven't heard of her, she is a prolific knit designer. She has 13 books published and around 600 patterns. So
yeah,
this is what she does. This is her job for like reals.
right.
So tell them what she published, Dan.
Oh,
Terrible.
So it's just dreadful. It's well, a lot of people may have heard this already, that it is an official Harry Potter knitting book. Not one of these fakesies running around, unofficial, oh, we'll do a Weasley sweater pattern. No, this is the official Harry Potter knitting book. And there was also a little bit of issues with this before, because Nathan Taylor of Sockmatician had originally signed on to this book, because it's not just her patterns, that there's a bunch of different designers that she's collaborating with for different things.
Yeah.
And it's also emphasized that these are JK approved. This is a great thing. And
I don't know that it's JK approved, but it is
Warner Brothers approved, at least.
It is Warner Brothers book. It is a contract with Warner Brothers that she had. So
right. And that was part of the thing with like I said, Nathan Taylor over a year ago now. And his thing that if you're not familiar with that sort of thing, that he had the diversity hashtag for a while, and it was a very nice introduce yourself sort of thing. And then he saw some some people sort of attacking each other a bit and sort of denouncing each other, and he said, whoa guys, we're one big happy knitting community. And he wrote a little poem about it with shoving nitty into words, and it was cute
to make it,
yeah. And he was in an airport, wrote the poem, got on the plane, and all
by the time he got off, he was canceled.
Yes,
like it was bad.
Yeah, and I would definitely recommend watching his video on the Sockmatician channel, because he had a horrible time, that he was, suddenly the worst bigot, as a white man, he's mansplaining this or that, and whatever. And it's so terrible, because again, he is the sweetest, the nicest man on the planet, and for him to be attacked like this. But anyways, he, with the handle Sockmatician, is one of the most creative and innovative double knitting experts. And beyond double knitting, triple knitting, quad knitting, anything, he does it. And I don't know how, but it's magical. But he had spent, his income comes from, going around and doing knitting tutorials and talks, and from publishing books. And that was all destroyed. And part of it was that he had worked on a pattern for this book, and and he had spent a lot of time on the pattern already, and they kind of called up and said, oh no, not you.
Yeah, that actually, though, his pattern was in the first book. This is the second book of the collection.
Oh,
so this is a new book that has made crazy, because so they canceled him for trying to say that we should include people. And so they were like, we don't want you in the book anymore, because heaven forbid we include people we don't necessarily agree with.
Right.
But
and Nathan Taylor, of all of the happy woke labels, it's him. It just is. Again, he's the nicest guy. He doesn't wish harm on anybody. He's definitely somebody who is on team diversity. Nobody would question that. And it's like, no, you just went slightly awry. My 98% friend is my 100% enemy if you step out of line and we needed to attack you. And
because he wasn't really that far off, but they really called him out for not supporting one of their causes. I don't even remember exactly, but
again, he was in a suicide watch ward for a while. It was really horrible.
But so the new book Tannis put out, so the issue with the book is that J.K. Rowling is a TERF, And for people who don't know, a TERF is a trans exclusionary radical feminist. So just J.K. Rowling has gone around saying terrible things like, you know, trans women aren't really women.
Right.
Like I believe she might be against the terms of like birthing person and stuff, because she says, no, a woman is a woman. And,
right.
And that's something we've earned and worked for, and we're not just giving it to everybody. And so
Right.
therefore they hate her. They have like totally tried to cancel Harry Potter in the liberal area because of her being like, no, that's not true. So,
right. And sorry, Max just walked in. But not only that, but she has specifically said that she's not against trans people. She's not against, you being you. That's totally fine with her. There's no part of her where she says like, ooh, trans people, shouldn't be a thing. She said that she has sympathy for the, trans community and whoever struggles that they've had, that there's nothing about J.K. Rowling that is anti-trans. Just that she is, one of the most famous and influential, women. And maybe she's, as one of the most famous and influential women, that, she is the top of female achievement, and being a female who's achieved means something, and it can't just be changed by someone who says that they're a woman. That right. If you want to have trans achievement, please do, but don't erase women's achievement in favor of people who have, said that they're women now.
Exactly.
Rather like Caitlyn Jenner winning Women of the Year. I'm sorry.
Right. And I.
If you want to give Caitlyn Jenner awards, so fine. But again, Woman of the Year should,
go to a woman. And it's not to erase anybody, but it's by putting Caitlyn Jenner above people, it takes away from other women. And that's what J.K. Rowling has come out against. It's not anything about there shouldn't be, or we don't like, or just that, women can make achievements and you can't just change that.
Right.
So that's the first part of the problem. So J.K. Rowling's a TERF. This happened years ago, a few years ago at least, and they canceled her, and you can't like Harry Potter anymore, and you have to get rid of it, and you have to whatever.
You can't like Harry Potter unless you go through this mental gymnastics about how, you like the thing but not the author. So I can enjoy it, you can't enjoy it.
But actually now what they're saying is that you cannot separate the art from the artist, because she is just so bad, and there's so many things in her world that are unacceptable, like the racist name of Cho Chang, or the fact that she mentioned that she always felt like Dumbledore was maybe gay, or like, but because she didn't explicitly put that in the books, then she's just pandering, and she's I don't know,
I
as an
kind of thought
author,
she was pandering at the time, but
that's so did I. But you know what? As an author, that's
it's like
your
you can't
thing
just make Dumbledore gay in post.
Right, but maybe she didn't feel like it was necessary for the story, because he never really had a role outside of being the headmaster helping Harry. So maybe in her mind she had a whole backstory for him. Right. That's not my job to say whether or not it's true. And the fact that you don't like the way she dealt with it doesn't mean that you have to get rid of the whole thing. I don't know.
Right. And then they're talking about, oh, well, she plot lines with inclusion or this or that. I'm like, you think the whole, Muggle-born plot line introduced strongly throughout the entire story wasn't a whole anti-bigotry thing? Like, oh, we can only talk about bigotry in the way that somebody else specifies talking about bigotry, that you can't just have a big old analogy for, like.
Yeah. So. Right, because it wasn't like a anti-white people thing.
Yeah.
That it was bad. And apparently J.K. Rowling has pandered to them again, saying, well, now I feel like Hermione is really a black character and stuff. And so it's kind of like, You can't really change it after the fact. You made her who she made her, so.
Exactly. And she's not a Black character. I'm sorry. You have specific first introduction, bushy brown hair. And when J.K. Rowling writes Black characters, she straight up says that they're Black. Like there's no confusion. There's no like, oh, I'm going to like shy around this. She's like, yeah, he's Black. Lee Jordan, Black, says it. And that it's like, so there's no, and yeah, it's nonsensical. And it should also be noted that that not everyone who is trans is anti J.K. Rowling. The Canna Knitter, somebody shared with me their post that they're trans, that female to male trans, and says that they stand up for J.K. Rowling and they're doing a sale of Harry Potter masks to celebrate that they don't. They're like, what she said isn't transphobic, so they're not offended. Why do they care?
Yeah, it's I don't know. So, but that's been going on in the knitting community. And not just that this book, so they're really going after Tanis, not just for the book, but also because the announcement was released during Pride Month.
Oh, I saw that too. And I'm just like the lèse-majesté of Pride Month. That I'm so sorry that this activity is a little too straight for me. It's Pride Month, so can't do it.
I don't get it. Like, okay, so we have Black History Month. We don't yell at people if they release a book and they're not Black during Black History Month. Like, it just doesn't, the thinking just doesn't jive. I mean, it's not, you're just pissed off about the book. Be honest. It has nothing to do with if it's during Pride Month or if it's, you don't want her doing it. And then they were on her because they were like, oh, her apology is so a non-apology. The woman said, hey, I am in a contract. I'm in a contract with Warner Brothers. You don't just explode out of a contract with Warner Brothers. I don't give a crap who you are.
Right.
I mean, they would have to ask me to do something that was really unethical for me to be like, because I mean, how are you going to get that exposure as a knit designer without, I mean, come on.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, also what a great, on one hand, you're working for the man. On the other hand, what a great opportunity. But yeah, you can't just break a Warner Brothers contract. She's under contract. She's been having, family health issues. And she does this lovely long apology about how she never wanted anyone to not be included or anything else. And then it's just like, yeah, I don't care. Like,
yeah, that's not a good apology. It's the same thing. That's why you can't apologize. Like, you don't negotiate with terrorists, because you do, and then they want more from you, and it's never good. Like, go away.
Again, and to bring up the Nathan Taylor situation, the man was suicidal, and they said good. Like,
well, that just shows how kind they are.
I know, how inclusive. Like, don't. And of course, the people who are several of the that Tabitha brought up, the women who are the head of the yarn cancel culture mob, have all run up a flag for "we hate anything Harry Potter related" at the same time. Funny how that works.
Yeah, well, that's what they do.
Right.
It's not even anything new. It's just I don't know, man. They're so busy worrying about what other people are doing. They're not worried about what's going on in their own house and how they treat people right there in their own little yard. They need to start worrying about themselves a little more. But hey, who am I?
Right. Hey,
so
love is hate. Freedom is slavery.
So
telling somebody to kill themselves when you're not the shogun is perfectly acceptable discourse.
So then this is going on, and then I have gotten emails and messages from multiple people sending me the screenshot of what they are promoting on Ravelry. And Anne and I talked about this before the show, and it's offensive enough that I'm not going to insert a picture of it like I normally would. Like if you
Yeah,
want to see it, you can ask for a link or you can go to Ravelry for their homepage
it just,
because it's right there out in the open.
yeah. And for a knitting and crocheting and fiber arts website for Pride Month, I didn't see any element of fiber arts on that main page. Not a single one.
No, it didn't. They had.
So just
Okay.
to set this thing, it is a computer screen and it is a lot of little boxes in, it doesn't really, it could be a Zoom call. It doesn't really look like a Zoom call, like that there's
It
a
seems
bunch
like
of
that's what
images
they're
of
emulating,
people,
though.
right,
Yeah.
on the screen, and there's just like this sort of scattered mess of things behind the screen, and the images are, if you go across the screen, there's someone with a pride flag, there's a lesbian couple, there's a guy holding a baby, there's a couple men in the little leather strap thing, one of which is wearing a dog mask.
Yeah, yeah. It's
There's a polyamorous threesome.
Yep.
There is a large woman in pajamas eating chips, which doesn't seem to go.
Well, I wonder if it's part of the fat phobia stuff, but yeah, there's some lesbians kissing.
Right.
There's what appears to be a male butt twerking.
Yeah, there is a cartoon bare bottom in there with right
There
by
is.
where you're supposed to sign in. I'm like,
And I just noticed that behind the computer there is a sex toy.
yes. Yes,
I
is.
hadn't seen that the first time I looked through it.
Right. Yes, there is. There's also in the sort of scattering of stuff, there's more chips, which again is a little weird. I didn't think potato chips were sexual, but anyways, there's like
I don't want to know why they're in there. I like chips. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm like, well, I'm like, but and there's a like lesbian reading material in there, and there's green lipstick,
yeah, and then
which is again, I don't know why that's specific, but it's all part of the picture. But
yeah, somebody's wearing
it's all
trans
very
and proud. They're wearing shirts that say trans and proud or we are everywhere or different things. There's a cat in there that looks like it wishes it could be anywhere else but in this picture. So I identify with the cat most of all. I don't know if that was the intent, but
right. I don't know why the woman with the cat is like, again, part of Pride, but I mean,
I don't know. And some of them are like totally normal looking pictures, and that's cool. But first off, why are the children? There's a couple of kids in here. There's like a woman with what looks like a couple of kids, and then there's the guy with the baby. Why are children included in this picture? What part of this weird sexual stuff is appropriate for children?
Right. Which I mean, you could just say like, happy, loving family. But that is also an element of pride parades that I find concerning. Like there was a picture going around of a man with I don't know how to innuendo this. Is like he's sitting there in chaps that do not have a backside, and there's a child right beside him, and it's like, this is not appropriate during a pride parade. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you shouldn't. And it's like, oh well, the kid's learning about diversity and different people. Like this is not how we should be learning about this, and this is not appropriate for public discourse.
No.
Like what you do in your house is on you. Or if whatever gay club, okay, that is your own thing, that is your own space. Don't walk around with nudity for children.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if this is true or not, but a lot of people are saying that they're trying to normalize like pedophilia, and so I don't know if that's part of the intent of including kids and things like this.
Right.
I don't know enough about this honestly to like have to say that's what it is, but
and I was watching a few videos this past week. It's Josh Slocum, and he was on Unsafe Space, and he has his own channel and stuff, and he was talking about that the gay community has fought so hard to make sure that, you know, homosexuality and pedophilia are separate. Like this, you know, pedophilia is wrong, and then just, you know, have the gay community, this is all consensual adults who are doing this. And he's like, and you're bringing them back again, and it needs to stop. It's really terrible.
It is really terrible. And I don't, this is on the front page of Ravelry when you open it up. If I was, I mean, I don't browse Ravelry anymore. I got this picture because people sent it to me. But when I used to go on Ravelry, I opened it up in front of my kids. I had my settings so that you couldn't see these things. But if it's the front page,
yeah,
I am not in the position where I feel the need to talk about why there's just what that sex toy is in the picture with my children. They're too small.
Right.
And why is this okay?
And also, like, why is it connected with knitting? Like,
well,
okay,
and
like, why is knitting inherently supposed to be a sexual thing? It's like, well, yeah, I want to knit a beanie for my auntie for Christmas. I guess I'm going to log in and, oh boy, I think I'm at the wrong website.
Exactly. And I know that they're a private site and they can do whatever they want, but like 30% of their pattern sales are going to gay. It's going to Take Action Minnesota, which is and then an additional 10% is being donated to local LGBTQ youth.
Right.
So now you're taking my money and supporting things that I don't necessarily support, which is one reason why, if you're still on Ravelry, I really don't buy patterns if you don't have to. Like,
right.
I know once in a while you're in a position.
Have another website.
Yeah, and once in a while you're in a position where you can like you get an order and somebody wants something, and I get that. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, like
see if you can message
so
the
far
people
removed
too.
Yeah, and the other posts. So I guess in June they're doing a lot of these posts because the first one says we're here, we're queer, get used to it.
Right, and to pause a little bit, I looked a little bit on my apologies if I pronounced his name, but the guy who did the cartoon, I assume guy because the name is Archie Bongiovanni, is the name that they give. I assume it's their real name. I don't know why I'm saying that. But they publish on a platform called Audio Straddle. The webcomic that they do is called Grease Bats. And I'm flipping through, I'm reading a couple of them. It's mostly, you know, it's little comic strips, you know, life as gay or life as lesbian and their little things. But also they do like coloring pages. And
I saw that, like the butt of the month or something.
Yes, the butt week coloring pages, because I wrote this down with a tattoo saying pervert with a heart around it on the butt. Okay, but also there was another image, and it was someone sitting on a counter, and like both on the stove and right next to them, just covered with sex toys. And I'm just like, oh, this is really concerning. And look, you're on the internet, you have your market, you have people that you know, sell to. If you want, go ahead and read this guy's comics. You know, you do what you're into. But why is this your big advertisement for your big knitting and crochet community? Like, why, you know, why?
Well, the reason why is because now that Ravelry has gone woke, like they were always woke, but now that they've gone so far and Cassidy has, or is transitioning, that they expect everybody to be on the same page and to fully support it. And there's a group of people who, they're on a different website that I go on, and they tend to be pretty left-leaning, but they were like, you know, why do I have to go on to Ravelry and see all of this stuff? It's not my chosen lifestyle. It's not something that I'm interested in. Doesn't mean I don't think these people should be able to do it.
Right.
But why do I have to see it? It would be weird. It'd be like me inviting people into my bedroom with my husband. It's just not necessary or
Right.
useful. I don't understand why, because they're living a different lifestyle. They feel like we have to consume all of it. Why do
Mhm.
we have to see all the private parts of your life? It's
Yeah.
not my business how you choose to express your sexuality.
Right.
If you come to me and you say, hi, my name is Alicia and I'm a woman, I'll say, hi, Alicia, it's nice to meet you.
Mhm.
Because I'm not going to be like, no, you look like a dude to me. Like, I'm going to take you at face value. You're going to say, oh, whatever. Then I'm going to be like, oh, hi. I don't need to know anything else
Right.
at all. And I don't understand why this knitting website thinks that we want to know more, and why we
Exactly.
want to give our money to these things, and why it's not normal at all.
No, and it's also there's no level of my private life is private, and if I wish to share something with you, I will. But you know, it's like I gonna have a nice little chat about. See, I gotta stop. But it's like that. There's no level of no. This is just something that I share with people around me, and I may say publicly I'm this or I'm that. But there's no sense of proportion, I think. And
Yeah,
also, like I said, these people they're not even, it's not even a couple kissing and they're wearing a scarf. Like there's no connection. They didn't even, throw in a couple
yeah, I
handwritten
don't.
letters in there. Like
Yeah,
it has no,
I can't look at it anymore. I gotta take it off the
right? You
computer.
gotta go bleach
Um,
it. Well, there was the second Ravelry picture, but I don't know if it's important to mention that.
oh, I didn't mind the second Ravelry picture.
I didn't think it was bad. It was kind of weird that you had a rainbow quilt, and then you had to add on a rainbow square to your rainbow quilt to make it more inclusive. But
You
whatever.
know, but in the whole scheme of things, if you want to do Pride Month,
Mhm.
that's the way to do Pride Month.
It
You've
made
got
sense.
hands of different colors. They have a crocheted blanket. This
Mhm.
one I can put up. I can
Right.
put up this picture because it's not disgusting. Um, you know,
It
different
actually
colored
makes
hands
sense
making
with
different
fiber art.
crocheted blocks.
It's an
It's
analogy.
rainbow. It's fine.
Yeah.
If that's how you want to do Pride Month, I don't think that anybody is going to take issue with it. The issue is when it gets into nasty stuff that should be left in private, because
Mhm.
we don't need to broadcast this to the whole world.
Though I would say that the crocheted square woman, see, it's Ashante Fortson. I probably got
Okay.
that wrong. Sorry, but the
She's
thing,
probably not watching us, so.
probably, my apologies for getting your name wrong, but my non-apologies for pointing out that the charities that you chose were a little strange. That it's the Autistic People of Color Fund and the Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network. Now, I don't see those things really connecting. You would think that you'd have general organizations for autistic people, which absolutely help autistic people, but
Mhm.
specifically autistic people of color, only them, and then autistic women. So it's like white guys, you out,
Well,
and
men are
non
awful, which is what we know.
right, um, and non-binary network, and those two were together. So again, I don't know. So
I don't know.
autistic. So if you're an autistic woman or if you're non-binary, you get in, but you don't. Like again, apologies to white men. Bummer to be you.
Well, you know that the whole point of all of this is to get rid of white men or to take them down. And
And also, if you're an autistic white guy, you got plenty of struggles. Like
I'm
seriously.
not saying that you don't, but the point is that if they had, I mean, white men have been the bad guy for a long time, right? And you can see that now where they're not standing up for people. They're not you can't push these radical ideologies when you have strong men.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that they first attack men and then they start with the other stuff, because it works together. I saw a video of a man punching a woman in the face this week.
Oh.
And there was a man standing next to her who just laughed. Like,
wow.
What world are we living in now? That's okay. It used to be you never raise your hands to a woman.
Uh-huh.
Now they've blurred all the lines.
Also,
now men are women and women are men, and you can do whatever the hell you want to, and it doesn't matter.
Right. And also that, you never raise a hand against a woman, but also that the guy was known responsibly that if you see a guy beating up on a woman, you stop that. Like, that is.
Yeah, but no, not anymore, Anne.
Yeah.
Now we just laugh and video it.
Male responsibility. It was a huge thing. And, with great power comes great responsibility, I guess. But
I guess so.
It's like and then with anybody, not just men, but the responsibility to do something is yours. If you see something going on, your job to stop it, your job to do something, your job to say, hey, come over here, help, whatever it happens to be. That it's not just I'm just a sideline person. Like, nah, you're in. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. The world is not, even since I was littler, it's just not what it used to be. And I don't know how we're going to fix that. We can homeschool and speak up and do church, but I don't know. I think we need to go back to our school boards though, because if we're not approaching this in the young years, it's going to just keep coming.
Right. And it's also, I don't know, a fundamental kind of character issue too, that this is not just, it's not just that, there's people and they're pushing an agenda and it's wrong, but it's the characters of people around it. It's I'm not going to say anything, or there's time and place to say something, and there's time and place to not say something. But if you're never saying anything, reassess. And especially, and this is, I got a message from a lady who is worried about, saying something at work, and actually I haven't replied. I should, but I was sort of thinking about this. Is like, look, if you have a work problem and then you're worried that if you're going to say something, you're going to lose your job or you're going to get in trouble at work, like, this is definitely, this decision is going to change your life. And, that's all on you to think and assess and to do, what you think is best. But also keeping in consideration that things aren't going to get better if you don't say anything. And also, you never know who is going to stand up with you once you say something.
Right. But that's a personal choice. That's not something that Anne and I can tell you what to do.
Right. It's definitely a personal choice. But the lady who I talked about with the schools, the Parents Know Best lady, she said that she was the first person to talk out about Common Core in her school district, and didn't, people are always saying that you're alone, no one else agrees with you, and then people are quietly telling her, like, whoa, I thought I was the only one. And there's an old little rhyme that I've been repeating to myself a lot, and again, I don't remember exactly where that's from either, but it's, show me but 10 who are stout-hearted men, and I'll soon show you 10,000 more. That someone's got to start. Someone's got to say something and stand your ground, and other people will be like, yes, we'll go to you for that.
But yeah, people do need to just start not accepting this stuff. That's what it comes down to.
On that note, we will see you next week. We're on Rumble, YouTube, and Instagram, MeWe, Parler, Vero, the rest of it. Type us in, you'll find us.
Yes,
Links
come
are all
find us.
below.
Yep.
Etsy,
And
Galilee Life, Lovecrafts,
all of them. So
all of them.
thanks for joining us this week, guys, and we will see you next week.
All right, see you soon.